MSTR is dropping while Bitcoin is holding up sideways, guys. Why is this happening? Is the stock diluted? What should we be expecting with MSTR? Are we going to see a hard retracement, or are buyers going to step in here, guys? This being a false breakdown or small pullback and continue our movement up. Now, starting this analysis on the weekly time frame, guys, we see a monster of a stock all the way to that 543. We get in this little bit of a descending range here. Breakout, right? Descending bull flag. See a nice movement up. We tap that 425 level, getting another descending range breakout, and now, guys, we are currently trending at that 412.67 level. Right now, this being a little bit of a pullback given that overall move, so nothing to worry about just yet, given that we've had a very nice move up. Small pullback, hold tight, continuation, and now we're in another small pullback where we could either hold tight and continue like we saw right here, or even if we pull back, we still have a pretty nice support zone, talking about right around that 369 to 358 that we would get that potential bounce on. Pretty nice healthy stock in the long-term perspective. All right, guys, taking you to the daily, what I really want to point out is how we are quite diluted. So basically printing more stock to buy more Bitcoin, and that might sound bullish long-term if you're into Bitcoin, but short-term, it's causing dilution, meaning more shares in the market means each share is worth a little bit less. And that's what's dragging the stock down right now, guys. As we've seen, Bitcoin hasn't really dropped off. We've seen Bitcoin had a very nice, beautiful move up, reaching all-time highs, and now we're kind of just chopping around, keeping it cool. So this price action right here really isn't stemming from a technical analysis perspective whatsoever. What we're seeing here is just dilution and fundamentally bringing the stock down. But getting into the analysis, what we can analyze, guys, is that we do see stock come back down here, trending around that 412. See that wick, that buying pressure. The low of the day here was around that 405, but we see prices get bought back up. Now we are back in this general range, which is pretty much an exit range of 425 and 400, right? We saw a little bit of chop right here. Nevertheless, we got shut back down, got back in that range. We see about 2 real days within that range before a continuation move up. Now we're coming back here with a pretty wide bar, signaling buying pressure, but nevertheless still looking like it'll be a quick movement either up or down. Given that every time we've gotten within this range, it's been a quick movement either up or down, not a whole lot of chop. And this was right around the zone where we got that bigger descending range, guys, that descending bull flag like range. We got that all-time high of 543, stemming that correction and hitting around that 443 level. And that's where you see a lot of volatility, right? Price is not tight by any means after seeing all-time highs hit. Kind of chop at the top of that range, get pushed down towards the bottom. Lots of back and forth with buyers and sellers, no direct winner. But as we get pushed to the bottom of that range, we meet back up with that descending support as well as that 232 level. See a nice movement up, get that full retracement, kind of double bottom at that 232. And then we see a continuation all the way to that 425. And that's where we see a little bit of a descending like pattern, kind of tighter price action than we saw there. A lot less volatile. Try to stay within that range of 400 to 425 for a bit, but we do get shut down and we kind of find a descending channel like range where we do end up breaking out. Buyers do win that battle, and we trend all the way to that 457, kind of right around the time where Bitcoin was really breaking out hard. But guys, when you see a red wide bar like that, nearly engulfing 5 candles, right? Not quite, but pretty much engulfing 5 candles there. We definitely look bearish when you see a candle like that, showing a huge shift in momentum. We see tighter price action kind of ascending up, but then we get that giant bearish pressure, nearly engulfing the last 5 days of price action, followed up by 3 more red days. And like we touched up on, guys, this is purely through fundamentals. The stock is very much diluted right now, causing a bit of back and forth, causing sellers to step in. And what we can analyze from a technical analysis perspective is we see some very obvious support of that 400 as we try to hold up within that range for a bit before moving downwards. And 400 is a psychological level, so you could be seeing a bounce there, kind of making a rounded formation, right? Get that move up, get that move down, and try to continue our way up. And although stock isn't moving with Bitcoin right now, if Bitcoin can kind of break out of that tighter range it's in, and see a continuation up, we could be seeing a nice flip in price. But in the long-term perspective, we're looking very healthy as we've broken out of that descending range. We've gotten a huge overextended move up, smaller retracement, not even half of that movement. Continuation with another nice move up, and now we're about around half, not quite, but around half of that retracement of this newer movement up. So in the long to medium term picture, still looking very healthy for MSTR, and there's nothing to freak out about. Although we should keep in consideration the dilution that MSTR is going through and the fact that MSTR hasn't followed Bitcoin very well within the past couple of months, and we are all aware that if you guys have been following the channel, we'll see what sellers can do if they can retrace this full movement or just around half of that movement and then continue our way up. But in the long to medium term picture, we still look very good here. All right, guys, on the hourly, we see that movement up, right, breaking out of that newer descending range. we get that nice move up to 457 as we kind of hold tight. We find some obvious resistance, get moved down, try to chop within that 425 and 438 as that 425 was a bit of resistance. Kind of get back to that level, try to hold it as support. Cannot do that, and we flush in a very steep declining manner, kind of signaling that we are probably going to be testing that 400 before trying to get a move back up, and possibly even to that 391, finding support there. All right, guys, take you to Bitcoin as we see a very nice move out of that declining flag like range. We see an overextended movement up, get to all-time highs, get shut down, that 106,000 level being quite stubborn, get over it, and finally fully get over it as we chop a little bit. Then we see a nice continuation up to 123,000 of all-time highs. And instead of really pulling back like we're seeing MSTR doing, we just see kind of tight consolidation. Right, we hit that all-time high, we get shut down a little bit, but now we're holding very tight. This being around 13 days of tighter price action, which is actually very nice to see after a huge move up like that. Sellers not having the ability to step in and even kind of pull us back half of that big movement. So Bitcoin looking very good from the short-term perspective, although we have to keep in consideration we're at all-time high territory. So in hindsight, guys, there's a lot more room down than up in the short-term picture, but some really nice price action as you see that nice movement. Kind of a flag and pull like structure, very obvious flag and pull, right? We see that big movement up. We kind of just get in this flag like structure, guys. That's exactly what we're seeing, a textbook flag and pull. So it's very probable that we kind of get tighter within this pennant and fully break out, trying to retest that 123,000 and possibly above that, creating new all-time highs. So from a short-term perspective, I like what I'm seeing on Bitcoin, guys. I think we do get that movement up. Given that we have a flag and pull like structure and we have a huge move up, getting tight, not getting shut down by the sellers, and we are getting tighter by the day. So we're in a very interesting spot with MSTR. We're obviously diluted with the stock. Bitcoin is looking very healthy and good after a huge movement up, consolidating, holding tight for around 13 days, getting tight within a flag and pull like structure, as MSTR is doing quite the opposite. We see that nice movement up, right? Just kind of like on Bitcoin, not as drastic, but nevertheless, huge movement up. But instead of holding its ground and holding tight, we very much do see a huge movement down. So whether it can retrace this whole movement or kind of hold up around that $400 level, we'll see. Our prediction is that we hold up a little bit higher, not retracing that full movement. Given that MSTR still is very healthy in the long term, right, we are still just in a little pullback compared to this whole huge move up. But let me know your price predictions in the comments below. We're in a very interesting spot for MSTR. Now, if you guys enjoyed this video and want to see more MSTR content, make sure to like and subscribe. And as always, trade smart, and I will see you all in the next one.